Hello, this is SJ Talks in Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. It's a beautiful day up here in Michigan. I'm not sure what the temperature is. I think it's in the 70s. In the 70s. Beautiful day up here. Beautiful day. The leaves are starting to come in on the trees. I'm telling you guys, the sun gives me life. The sun gives me life. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful Sunday day. Sunday. Leaves are nice and the leaves are starting to come in on the trees. It's nice and warm. I love it. I love it. I love this weather. Plus physically I do better, I do better. I feel better. Yes. Beautiful day up here in Michigan. Hope we have many, many, many more. Hope it's nice wherever you guys living at. I hope it's nice. But anyways, I want to talk about the government is concerned because of declining birth rates. The birth rates have been on a steady decline here in the United States for the last 10 years. I think 10 years. Don't quote me. 10 years. I think 10 years. But over the last few years, the birth rates here in the United States, white and black birth rates, not just white, but white and black birth rates. So I know you black men in the manosphere like to bash black women for popping out a bunch of babies, but even the black birth rates are on the decline. So birth rates across the board is on the decline, and the government is getting very concerned. The government is getting very concerned that the birth rates are declining. I did a video talking about the 4B movement. More women are making a decision, child-free women, more women, and these are not older women, some older women, but there's a lot of younger women are making the conscious decision to not give birth, to not have children. There's a whole community, a whole child-free sector here on YouTube. I enjoy watching their videos. The child-free YouTubers, I enjoy watching their content. I don't know. I like watching their content. It's interesting to for the different reasons that they give why they don't want to have children. And I totally support having raised two on my own myself. And I realize how hard it is and the challenges. It's very, very difficult to raise children, especially in these times. I'm 100% in support of childless and child-free women. I'm 100% in support. Because I can completely understand why these young ladies don't want. But before I go into all that, I want to make this point. The government, I want to circle back around to that. The government is very, very, very concerned about the declining birth rates because they're concerned about the future workers. But what they're really concerned about. What the real concern is that they're really concerned about, I keep it 100 here on my channel. You guys know that. What they're really concerned about is the white birth rates. Let's keep it real. Let's call a thing a thing. They're really concerned about the white birth rates. This is the reason why women don't understand that's pro-choice. Women that are pro-choice, I'm pro-life, but women that are pro-choice are so concerned about the abortion laws. And they left it up to each individual states, but states are starting to outlaw. They want to outlaw it across the board. And it's important for women to know that is the reason why they're starting to outlaw abortions, because They really don't care about, to be honest, perfectly honest, I don't really believe that they care so much about black birth rates declining, but they're concerned about the white birth rates. They're concerned about white people becoming a minority in this country. That's what they're concerned about. They don't want, white people already are a minority in California and New York, I believe it is. They are concerned about white people becoming a minority in this country. They don't want that. They don't want that. This is the reason why they're concerned. They're concerned about the future workers, but they're also concerned about white people. You know, they want to continue to be the majority. They want to continue to be the majority race in the country, and they're concerned about white people becoming a minority. Okay, let's be real here. That's what they're really concerned about. They want them white women to have them babies. They can't just say, okay, black women can have babies, but white women, y'all can't have them. Or y'all, or what I meant was, they can't just tell black women, y'all can have abortions, but then tell white women, y'all can't have them. Because, you know, that would be a major red flag for the black community. And, you know, white women would have a fit. What do you mean we can't have abortions? You know, they can't, you know, that would be a major red flag in our community. Really? Why y'all letting us have them? Y'all don't want us to be here. That's what it is. So let's, you know, I keep it real, you know. If any of you guys watch me on a regular basis, you know I keep it 100 on here. You know, I don't sugarcoat anything. And so that's what they're really concerned about. Let's be real here. They're concerned about those white birth rates. But the black birth rates are on a steady decline too. But they're more concerned about them white birth rates. And that's why they're making them white women have them kids. That's why they're saying no more abortion, because they want them white women to have them babies. And they're concerned about the future workforce. Now, let's circle back around to the point I was making before about childless and child-free. Child-free is the difference between childless women and child-free. Child-free women are making the conscious decision that they are not going to have children, that they do not desire to have any children under any circumstances. Married, single, whatever. And like I said, I enjoy watching their content on here. I completely understand, having raised two on my own. I understand it's very difficult. It's very difficult raising children, especially in these days and times. It's very difficult to raise children. But what this is what, and this is going to kind of be a little bit of a rant too. The government has the nerve to be concerned about the birth rates. They have the audacity to be concerned about the birth rates. But they're shortening their hand. First of all, they're letting all these immigrants come into this country, and they're giving them, now they're starting to give them more stuff than what they're giving, resources than what they're giving to people that done lived here, was born here and lived here all their life. In New York, they're coming in by the thousands. They're coming in, they can't even control them. The immigrants are coming in by the thousands. Catch a YouTuber by the name of Cash Jordan. He keeps you abreast of, he lives in New York. He's into real estate, but he also keeps you abreast of what's going on in New York. Cash Jordan, check him out, because he's talking about all that. The immigrants are just pouring into New York by the busfuls, and they don't know what to do with them all. Of course, that's another video. I'm not going to get too deep off into that. And they're giving them resources, like letting them live in abandoned hotels and things like that. They're doing stuff that they never done before. New York has always had a high homeless population, and they never thought about putting their residents that are homeless and housing them in hotels. Now they're doing it with the immigrants. So they're giving them, and not to mention, Some of them, a lot of them, some of them are coming over here and committing crimes. That's a whole different video. I'm not going to get too deep off into that. But anyway, they're giving these immigrants resources that they're not giving us. Okay? How you going to help somebody else when you can't even help the people that's already living here? Our homeless rates are through the roof across the board. We have a homeless problem here in Michigan as well. There's a homeless problem here in my city that I live in. I live in a small city, and there is a homeless problem here in my city. Okay? They try to do things to control it, but there is one. I see homeless people sometimes when I'm driving. Okay? So it's all over the United States. In cities of all sizes, there is a major homeless problem in this United States. And the government is not doing a doggone thing about it. You know what I wanted to say. They ain't doing, I'm pissed because they're not doing nothing about it. They're not doing nothing about it. And they got these immigrants coming in, all of a sudden they want to put them up in a hotel. Okay, well, the New Yorkers that were citizens of New York couldn't get no hotel room. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You go down to California, if you've ever been to LA, you know of Skid Row down in LA. LA has a major, I think even a higher homeless population than New York. They bus homeless people in from other cities down to California because it's warmer. So we have a major homeless crisis here in this country. They can't even take care of the people that's already here. But then they want to always help somebody else. Ship that money. You're paying all this money for this war that should have been over a long time ago. You're helping these people in these other countries. I want to help. I want to help. But take care of the people that's already here. Y'all not taking care of the people that's already here. But then you got the nerve to talk about you scared about the birth rates declining. That's one issue. That's just one issue. Another issue is food costs. What kind of incentive if you giving women to have babies? Food costs is through the roof. And don't be disabled. It's a good thing I don't eat much. Don't be disabled. Of course, that's a whole nother video. Okay? Food cost is through the roof. It's through the roof. People can't even afford to feed their kids. Once they have them, the people that have children, they can barely afford to feed them with these food costs. And it's been like this for months and months. It's turning into years. These food costs is through the roof. That's another issue. And they're not doing anything. What are they doing? What are they doing to decrease it? What is the government doing about it? These companies are greedy. These companies are greedy. They're greedy. Okay? That's another issue. Another issue is medical. United States has the worst health care system in the world. This is supposed to be the greatest. I don't know why some people don't do their research before they try to come here. United States has the worst healthcare system in the world. There is no universal healthcare system here in the United States. I'm going to do another video talking about that because I'm real pissed about the healthcare system right now. Because my mother, she worked for the government for 32 years. And they don't want to do nothing to help her. She retired and she's got crappy insurance and they don't want to do nothing to help her. Hardly. But that's a whole nother video. I'm pissed about that. I'm very pissed about that. My mother put in 32 years at the VA. She should have the same benefits as the veterans because she put in service with the government. I thought that was the best job you can get in this system, is a government job. Boy, was I wrong. They don't take care of you in retirement like they should. But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. I'm really, really upset about that right now, but that's a whole nother video. Crappy insurance. We have the most crappy insurance here in the United States. I was just on an AARP blog on Facebook, and lots of people were coming in sounding off on that, on this healthcare system here in the United States. It's crappy. We have the most crappy healthcare system in the world. Lots of other countries have a universal healthcare system, including Canada. The United States don't have it. And it's a shame. What kind of incentive is the United States government giving women to have babies? What kind of incentive? When you look at the food costs, the insurance costs, these jobs, they refuse to raise the minimum wage. I'm talking about nationwide. I'm not talking about by the state. I'm talking about nationwide. They're refusing. I don't know what the nationwide minimum wage is. I don't know what it is. But they're refusing to raise it. They won't raise it. But they steady raising food costs and housing. I'm coming to housing. Housing costs and food costs, insurance and all that. They steady raising that, but they won't raise the wages. How is people supposed to live? When single people that don't have no kids they gotta work 2 jobs just to take care of themselves and keep a roof over their head. You got people living out their cars. There's a whole sector on YouTube. I love to watch those videos too. There's a whole sector on YouTube of people that are living out of their vans, living out of trailers, because they cannot, well, some people choose to live that way, but a lot of them, because they cannot afford an apartment or a house. Which is coming to my other point. Housing costs is through the roof. Our housing costs is through the roof. I don't know what made them think that it was okay after COVID to raise the price on everything. I don't know, after 2020, it seemed like after COVID, they done went up on everything. And that was the worst time. A lot of folks was out of jobs. That was the worst time. They didn't hardly want to give you no stimulus money. They were stingy on that. That was the worst time for everybody across the board. And a lot of people lost their jobs with that COVID situation. Why they choose after COVID to yank everything up, to jack everything up? Why they wait till after COVID to jack everything up? Why'd they do that? Because it would seem like that's what happened. The housing cost is through the roof. People living out of their vans and trailers and stuff because they can't afford an apartment. You know how much apartments are in New York for a decent one that's not a closet? $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Who can afford that? And you know the salaries don't match that. I don't even know how people can even afford to live in New York. You have to be rich. I think they want all rich people living in that city. I don't think they want no poor people living in that city. As a matter of fact, I don't even think they want middle class people living there. I think that they want all rich people to live in New York. Mm-hmm. And they want to push out the middle class and the poor, and it just be a rich city with a bunch of rich people living there. That's what I think. Because how do people even afford to live in New York? Or any major city for that matter. The housing costs is even in... Now, Michigan does have some of the cheapest housing costs in the country. I will give Michigan that. Michigan has some of the cheapest housing costs here in the country. But it went up. Housing costs has went up here in Michigan. Used to be in my city, you could get a 1-bedroom apartment for anywhere between $400 and $600 a month, depending on your location, or whether it's in a complex or whatever. Anywhere from $400 to $600 a month. You used to be able to rent a 1-bedroom apartment in my city. Now it's costing, because I love real estate and I'm into the real estate, so I like to keep abreast of what's on the market, and I check the rentals. Now you get a 1-bedroom apartment here in my city. You're gonna be dropping almost $1,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment here in my city. In my city. Now, I live in a small city, mind you. So just imagine what it's like in major cities like New York, LA, Chicago. Housing costs are through the roof. They're through the roof. If you have a roof over your house, I thank God every day. I thank God every day for my house. I thank God every day. But mind you, I worked my butt off for that house. I worked my butt off for that house. It's blood, sweat, and tears. Trust and believe. But I thank God every day. If you have a roof over your head, you better thank God. We can't afford to take anything for granted. We can't take food for granted. We can't take housing, shelter. It is so many people in this country that don't have a place to live. They got to live out of their car. They got to live out of... Now, some people choose to live that way, but a lot of people are living that way because they don't have a choice. Because they cannot afford an apartment or a house. That's a serious problem. And what is the United States doing? Nothing. What kind of incentive are you giving women to have children? I don't blame these women for not wanting to have no kids. What, you gonna bring them here for them to suffer, for the struggle? And then they don't want to hardly give you no help. They don't want to hardly give you no food stamps. They don't want to hardly give you nothing. These jobs ain't paying nothing. Some of these companies are over outsourcing and going into shipping their companies to overseas. They're outsourcing. What kind of jobs are we gonna have? Jobs don't want to pay you nothing. I got 2 grandchildren. I really feel bad for them coming up. I really feel bad for them coming up. I really do. I said, if I get, if the Lord blesses me, I'm going to do everything I can to help them. Because with these generations coming up, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them. What kind of incentive are they giving women to have babies? Now, you know what I'm going to be talking about next. These men ain't no good. These men out here, most majority of them, there's some good ones out here, but most majority of them are no good. They're talking about 50-50. A lot of these men are talking about 50-50. You gonna have a baby by a man that wants you to pay half? You gonna have a baby by a man that wants you to pay half. That means that you're gonna have to work full time in addition to taking care of your baby. Because you can't pay 50% on a part-time salary. It ain't gonna happen. That means you're gonna have to work a full-time job for at least 40 hours a week in addition to taking care of your baby. And taking care of everything else around the house. Because that's what a lot of them expect you to do. And that's what a lot of these men are. These men nowadays do not have the provider mindset. They don't have the provider mindset. A lot of these men don't have the provider mindset. And frankly, the way the economy is set up, 2 people have to work. But then child care costs, that's another point. Child care costs. Child care costs are through the roof. Child care costs are through the roof. I thank God that I was able to get child care assistance when I was working, when I had my two sons. And I thank God I was able to get child care assistance. Without that, I don't know what I would have done. I thank God I was able to get that, because I don't know what I would have done. I honestly don't know what I would have done. You know? But the government is shorting their hand. These child care, what if you make too much to eat, or what if a woman makes too much to even qualify for something like that? Then it's got to come out of pocket. Or a married couple make too much money to qualify child care assistance through the county. Then that's got to come out of pocket. Do you know that child care expenses is more? Do you know it's more expensive than sending a child off to college? Mm-hmm. Child care expenses is more, because they're not going to spend 18 years in college. Think about it. They're not going to spend 18 years in college. Or 12 years at least. You need 12 years at least of child care. You have to pay at least, unless you're going to school to be a doctor or something, you're not going to spend 12 years in school. So it costs more money to put a child in child care than it does to send them off to college. Child care expenses is through the roof. And I used to work at a daycare, and the workers don't get paid hardly nothing. I worked at that daycare for almost 5 years. I left out of there making $9.40 an hour. The money ain't long. The money is not long when you're a child care worker. The workers, what are they doing with all that money? The workers don't get nothing. The workers don't make nothing. What are they doing with all this money that these parents are paying? Well, it's these owners, they're greedy. Child care expenses is through the roof. What kind of incentive are you giving women? To the United States government, since y'all got the nerve to cry about the child birth rates being low, on a steady decline? What kind of incentive are you giving women to have babies? Black women stand a more higher chance of dying in childbirth. Black children have a higher infant mortality rate. There's a higher infant mortality rate in the black community. There's racism in the healthcare system. Okay. So what kind of incentive are you giving black women? Of course, they don't really care about black women having kids, to be honest, like I said in the beginning of the video. But just for argument's sake. What kind of incentive does that give black women to have kids? And maternity. I can't leave this out. Maternity leave. There is no paid maternity leave policy or nowhere in this country. I was blessed because when I had my oldest son, I was able to take off work for a year. When I had my oldest son, I was able to take off work for a year and stay home with him for a year. And then I was actually able to stay home with him longer than that, because I went back to work and then I stopped working again, and I was able to stay home with him a couple more years. I was blessed with my oldest son. My youngest son, I had to go back to work at 6 weeks. But I was blessed that, do you know that some women have to go back to work 2 to 3 weeks after they have their babies because they can't afford to stay home? That's inhumane. That is a dog that's having pups can lay up longer than that. A dog that is nursing her pups can lay up longer than that. You mean to tell me women got to go back to work less than 6 weeks after they have their babies? That is not even healthy for her body. Her body is not even healed. Because my son's my grandson's mother, after she had her baby, after she had she had 3 of them, but one is by my son, and I think she had to go back to work before the 6 weeks after having all of them. And I told her, I said, you that's not good, babe. I said, you got to give your body a chance to heal. And she was like, I don't have a choice. She said, I need the money. I don't have a choice. Yes. That's sad that a woman has to go back to work before 6 weeks because she doesn't have any money. I was blessed that I was able to be off after I had my youngest son. I had a decent paying job at the time, and I was blessed that I was able to. I wanted to stay home longer, though. I'm going to go on record of saying I wanted to stay home longer. I wanted to stay home longer with my son. I hated to leave my son at 6 weeks because I was able to stay home with my oldest for a while. With my youngest, I had a different situation. I was by myself. I didn't, his father wouldn't know where to be found, and I was on my own. I didn't have a choice but to go back to work at 6 weeks when he was 6 weeks old. I wanted to stay home with him longer because I was nursing him. I had to stop nursing. I think I stopped nursing a couple of months after I went back to work because I was like, the job I had, they were mandating and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, I can't go to work with swollen breasts and milk coming out everywhere, and the only time I could nurse them is when I came home, and pumping was out of the question at the time. So I think after 2 months, after I went to 2 or 3 months after I went back to work, I stopped nursing my youngest son. My oldest son, I was able to nurse him for close to a year. But my youngest son, poor guy, 3 months tops maybe, he got nursed. We had some type of paid maternity leave care system, I would have been able to stay off work longer than that. But I was luckily I was able to, the job that I was on, I was working at a county nursing home, and the job that I was on at the time, I was able to build up my time. I was able to work almost my whole 9 months, and so I build up my time, because you could build up your time, your vacation days. You can build up your vacation. I was able to build up my vacation days during that 9 months. So when I took off work, I was still getting my checks like I was still working because I had enough time. So I was blessed. But I couldn't take any more than 6 weeks. Altogether I was off because I took off a week earlier. I took off a week earlier, and my son was 2 weeks late. So altogether, my son was about almost 2 weeks late. He was literally almost 2 weeks late. So altogether, I think I had maybe 9 weeks altogether, because I was off for 3 weeks before I gave birth because my son was late. Because I took off, supervisor was riding me, and in your 9th month, you're tired, you're moving at snail speed, and they're expecting me to still be at the same quality work performance wise as I was when I wasn't pregnant. The supervisor, be real, the supervisor was riding my butt. So I went in and I told the doctor I want off work now. So I took off in my 9th month, about 3 weeks shy of giving birth to my youngest son, because he was late. I was off work a week, and then I was off 2 more weeks because 3 weeks before I gave birth, because he was late. He was almost 2 weeks late. He wasn't in a hurry to come in this world. I don't blame him. But that's what I'm saying. We don't have a paid paternity leave in this United States for women. In some countries, I think it's Norway. I believe it's Norway. I think the women can stay off for at least a year, and they pay them. They pay the women. Everything is taken care of. And I think they could stay at home with their babies for at least a year. I believe it's Norway. Yes. Yes, some of those countries, they really hook up their women after they have them babies. The United States, mm-mm. A lot of women, I've heard a lot of women have to go back to work in less than 6 weeks. Your body is not even healed. I couldn't imagine going back to work 2 weeks after having both of my sons. I could not imagine that. I was not in the condition to go back to work 2 weeks after giving birth to neither one of my sons. And I had healthy births, but I could not imagine having to go back to work 2 weeks after having both of my sons. I couldn't even imagine that. But a lot of these women have to go back to work 2 to 3 weeks after giving birth. That's inhumane. That's inhumane. That's, like I said, a dog can lay up longer than that. A dog! A dog can lay up longer than that after having the pups. A dog can lay up longer than that. That's inhumane. What kind of incentive are you giving women to have kids? United States government. What kind of incentive are you giving women to have kids? Of everything I talked about in this video, what kind of incentive do women have? I don't blame these women for not wanting to have kids. I don't blame them. You gonna bring them here for the struggle? You gonna bring them here to suffer? Not to mention y'all ain't doing nothing about the guns. All these school shootings going on, y'all ain't doing nothing about it. Now, Biden said he's going to do something about the, I was really happy about that. He said he's going to do something about banning the assault rifles. I was watching that on the news the other day. He's going to do something about banning the assault rifles. They shouldn't have been able to have them in the first place. What do you need with an assault rifle? If you just want a gun for protection, what do you need with an assault rifle? If you just want a gun for protection, just in case somebody come up in your house or whatever, what do you need with an assault rifle? How many people do you think gonna come up in your house? You don't need no assault rifle. Folks don't need that. You don't need an assault rifle for protection. Okay, you don't need it. You shouldn't have never had access to them in the first place. So this country needs to do something about our gun laws. They need to do something about our gun laws. Because there's too many school shootings that's going on. There's too many people that have lost their babies. Because people going off, these kids going off and shooting up everybody in the school. That don't make no sense. You got to send your baby off to school and you got to worry about them, getting shot right there in the school. This is a lot of things America is messed up on in this country. This is officially turned into a rant. What kind of incentive are you giving women to have kids? And y'all got the nerve to be concerned. Y'all got the nerve to be panicked. Oh, the birth rates are declining. What about our future workers? Well, what kind of incentive are you giving women to have kids? And these men out here ain't no good. Most majority of them. I'm just being honest. I don't blame these women for not wanting to have kids. I don't blame them. Because even when I look around and look at everything that's going on, it's bad. It's rough out here. We got to have God out here, guys. We need God. It's rough out here. We need God. I got to go. I'm running out of time. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. Think about what I said. Till the next video, be blessed.